Imagine waking up one day to discover that the ground beneath your feet is slowly disappearing. A silent, hidden phenomenon that few people know about. Sounds like science fiction, doesn't it? But believe it or not, this curious and alarming fact is happening right here beneath North America. And what's causing this giant hole challenges what many believe about the Earth's stability. While most imagine the ground as something firm and unchanging, the truth hides mysteries that reveal a future full of challenges and opportunities for those who act in time. In this video, we'll uncover this deep secret and show why the answer might change everything you think about the soil you live on. Get ready for a discovery that will shake your ideas about our planet. The ground beneath North America, where millions of people live, is quietly changing in a way that sounds almost unbelievable. A very old and important part of the Earth's crust, called the craton, is slowly getting thinner. This craton is like a solid foundation that has held the continent steady for hundreds of millions of years. But scientists, using a special technology similar to an MRI scan for the Earth, have discovered that the rocks deep below are actually melting and slowly sinking into the layers underneath, like wax melting and dripping down. This is a curious fact that few people know, yet it reveals some fascinating mysteries about how dynamic our planet truly is. What's even more interesting is how much rock has already been lost, about 37 kilometers deep. Imagine stacking 100 skyscrapers like the Empire State Building, and then watching that entire stack slowly disappear. That's how much the Earth has been thinning in some places. The craton has always been considered the most stable part of the continent, the base that supports everything else, much like the strong basement of a building. But now, this foundation is weakening. This isn't a slow, far-away event. It's happening right now, beneath cities, farms, and forests. This raises important questions. If the ground beneath us is thinning, what could that mean for the places where we live and work? These curiosities remind us that even the Earth itself is constantly changing, and not everything solid stays the same forever. The story behind this thinning goes back over 100 million years. Long ago, powerful movements deep inside the Earth started this process. This is a fascinating fact from the deep past, connecting ancient forces to the world we see today. Understanding this helps us realize the Earth is always alive with change, even if it happens slowly over millions of years. This deep history uncovers mysteries hidden beneath our feet and opens the door to understanding what's really causing the ground to weaken. And this is just the beginning. There's more to discover about the forces at work under North America, which we'll explore next. To understand the thinning of North America's ground, we need to meet a key player in this story: the Farallon Plate. The name might sound strange, but the Farallon Plate is a real geological mystery working behind the scenes of our planet for over 100 million years. Imagine a huge tectonic plate, a massive piece of the Earth's crust, that began sliding under North America in a slow, silent dance that is still happening today. This movement is what scientists call subduction, a process where one tectonic plate dives beneath another. Although this started millions of years ago, the consequences of this action are historical facts still unfolding today, with surprising effects. The Farallon Plate, as it slowly sinks, is literally stretching and weakening the craton, that old and stable base that supports the continent. Picture stretching an old rubber band until it becomes thin and starts to tear. That's pretty much what's happening to this part of the Earth's crust. On top of that, this process releases water and carbon dioxide into the mantle rocks, acting like a natural softener that makes the rocks more pliable, speeding up the thinning even more. These curious facts show how nature uses chemical and physical processes to transform the Earth's crust, almost like ancient and powerful alchemy. About 60 kilometers of rock have already been lost because of this action, a number that impresses anyone fascinated by interesting facts about Earth. Although this phenomenon is technical, it has impacts we can start to imagine in real life. The slow sinking caused by the Farallon plate affects the soil structure and, consequently, can influence everything from ground stability to the emergence of geological weak spots. It's both a historical fact and a mystery because, even with all the progress in science, some questions remain unanswered. How far will this subduction go? How long will the Farallon plate continue its path beneath the continent? And how might this influence future changes in the land and the cities that depend on this foundation? These curiosities show us that understanding the Farallon plate is key to unlocking many of the mysteries surrounding North America's ground. And believe it, the story is just beginning to be told. Did you know that some of the biggest cities in North America are sinking? It sounds like something out of a disaster movie, but it's a real historical fact full of interesting curiosities that few people know about. Cities like New York, Baltimore, and Charleston face a serious problem. The combination of ground sinking and rising sea levels is causing entire areas to become partially submerged. Charleston, for example, is sinking almost 4 centimeters per year. That's faster than most people realize. And what's even more curious is that this city is only about 2.7 meters above sea level, which is a small margin for what could happen if things keep moving at this pace. This sinking of the ground, called subsidence, doesn't happen by chance. It's a direct consequence of the thinning craton and other natural processes, but it's also influenced by human activities. The combination of these forces creates a worrying and mysterious scenario for scientists, residents, and city planners. The result is a phenomenon that goes far beyond what people see on the surface. Streets that flood easily, infrastructure that wears down quickly, and areas that were once safe now threatened by water. Imagine living in a place where every year the land seems to give way just a little more. That affects daily life, finances, and, of course, the mindset of those who live there. But the situation doesn't stop there. The threat is real and comes with a high cost. More than 500,000 people and about $19 billion in damages are at risk by 2050, according to recent studies. This is an interesting and alarming fact that demands urgent attention. That's why understanding this process and the curiosities behind it is important not only for scientists but for anyone who cares about the future of cities and quality of life. And even though it all seems so complicated, there are possible solutions. The science and engineering communities are studying ways to slow this sinking and plan smarter cities that can face this challenge. And that leads us straight to the next part of the story, which is, without a doubt, one of the most urgent mysteries of our time. Human activities are speeding up the sinking of the ground in many parts of North America, creating some curious and worrying effects. While natural processes like the thinning of the craton play a big role, human actions have made things worse. One of the main causes is the excessive pumping of underground water. When too much water is taken out from beneath the surface, the soil loses support and begins to collapse. It's similar to taking water out of a sponge and watching it shrink. This is a fact that affects many cities, farms, and communities, showing how closely humans and Earth are connected in unexpected ways. Another important factor is the weight of buildings, especially tall skyscrapers in cities like New York. These huge structures press down on the soft ground below, squeezing it tighter and causing it to sink more quickly. It's like placing a heavy book on a stack of soft papers. The papers start to flatten and lose volume. On top of that, building dams and draining wetlands prevent the soil from naturally recovering and absorbing water again, which would help keep it firm. These human interventions create a mix of problems, leading to ghost forests, salty farmland, and damaged roads and bridges. These are all surprising and sad facts about how our actions shape the land beneath us. The connection between human activity and land sinking is a curious reminder that our modern lifestyle can affect the planet in deep and lasting ways. We see the effects not just in faraway places, but sometimes right in our own backyards. This knowledge urges us to rethink how we use natural resources and build our cities. By learning more about these facts and mysteries, we can find better ways to live in harmony with the Earth. And understanding these challenges is the key to protecting our future, and the future of the land we depend on. This sets the stage for what comes next, showing how urgent and important it is to act before it's too late. If nothing changes, the future of many parts of North America looks wet and expensive. This is a curious and worrying fact that scientists and city planners have been talking about for some time. More than 500,000 people are at risk of being affected by flooding and sinking land by the year 2050. Along with that, damages could reach nearly $19 billion. These numbers are more than just statistics. They represent real lives, homes, and communities facing serious threats. It's a mystery how many people still don't know about this, even though the facts are clear and the danger grows every year. The problem comes from a mix of natural and human causes. The ground is sinking due to geological processes like the thinning of the craton and the slow movements of tectonic plates. At the same time, human activities like pumping too much groundwater and building heavy structures add to the pressure. These combined forces raise the sea levels effect, causing more flooding in coastal cities. It's an interesting and urgent reminder of how everything on Earth is connected. What happens deep underground can affect what we see on the surface, and what we do on the surface can change the underground. Understanding these curiosities is essential for finding ways to protect people and places. The good news is that it's not too late to act. Scientists suggest stopping the excessive pumping of underground water and designing cities in smarter ways that consider these risks. It means planning for the future with care and knowledge, building in ways that help the land stay firm and prevent further sinking. It's a fact that saving millions of lives and billions of dollars depends on decisions made today. These solutions show how science and technology can help solve some of the planet's biggest mysteries and challenges. And this call to action opens the door to a hopeful future, one where we respect the Earth's secrets and work with nature, not against it. Now that you've discovered these mysteries and curiosities about the ground beneath North America, the question remains: how can we act to prevent the problem from getting worse? Are we ready to face the consequences of this thinning and sinking of cities? These questions are not just for scientists, but for all of us living on this continent. Science has already pointed the way, but real change depends on our collective attention and decisions. What do you think can be done to protect our future? Want to keep exploring these historical facts and mysteries with us? Then don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to stay updated. After all, the more we understand the Earth, the better prepared we are to take care of it and ourselves.